If you wouldn't mind just telling me a little bit about the philosophy of the restaurant and the wine program here.
No problem. This restaurant has been running for a little more than 4 years now. We're a Swedish restaurant located in Stockholm, so the main city in Sweden. And we do what most probably people say as modern cuisine, modern Nordic cuisine. A lot of products and the main interests. So we try to farm as much as possible by ourselves and breed our own animals as much as possible by ourselves, and take as much as possible around in the surrounding areas. But it doesn't take away the opportunity to take things from all over the world, the things better than we can find here. So that's been the philosophy of wine pairing as well. And also the restaurant do just one set menu, so a long menu with 15 courses maybe, that put the guest into a long seating and try different things that we can serve from the kitchen. So
what can you tell me about the cellar here?
It's French dominated. We have about 2,000 references right now, so one of the largest in Sweden. I would say we have a very unique selection of rare vintages, vintage range from many of the most famous producers like Drummond or Mouton Rothschild, classic wines, and a lot of vintages, which I think is really nice to work with.
What are the largest challenges that you face with a wine operation, a wine program of this sheer size?
It's actually getting the volumes of quality wines that you need, because if we are to list, let's say, a red Burgundy at the banquet, you need at least to have 1,000 bottles, unless it takes finishes much too soon. And the menus that we are sending out now at the banquet is for people coming in December or in January. So it will be very, very tough to then, when the guests come, change all the wines that they've already tasted when they actually did the menu tasting. So that's, I think it's the biggest challenge, to find very good wines, well, reasonably priced, and at volumes that can last.
When we started here, we wanted to do something different. We want to go away from the traditional fine dining restaurant or fine dining wine pairing that you always have, set wine pairing that's very, very constrained to what you have. Because of the menu changing every time, almost every day, we try to have as much. We serve wines by the glass instead of set wine pairings. That makes it more fun for us. We can essentially change what's by the glass each night, and that's what we try. We want every guest to try to have a sort of individual wine pairing.
How would you describe the wine program at your wine bar?
It's mainly focused on what I like, and that means a lot of French wine in particular, and European wines as well. Of course, it's some things from Napa, some things from Australia, South Africa as well.
If you could pick one bottle from the cellar that you have access to here, what would it be, Kalle?
Oh, it should probably be one of the very rare Romani Conti wines.
Any vintage you would have in mind in particular?
Yeah, if we're going to start with a white wine, I would say the Dessert Privé, Chassagne Montrachet, from Romani Conti, the 95 vintage.
That sounds like a nice bottle of wine to
yeah,
start off with.
I don't think you can find it anywhere else. So.
Well, it would probably be the 07 Montrachet from DRC. That's probably what I would drink if I could choose anything.
Today I would have the 2008 Romanée Saint-Vivant from Sylvain Catillard.
It's a fine bottle of wine.
It is.
Do you have a favourite bottle on the list at the present moment in time?
I'm a big fan of wines for Chateau Pape. I think we all are here. So we have a producer as Chateau Rayas and Henri Bonneau. We had yesterday, I think, a bottle of Henri Bonneau culinary 98. It was fantastic. And also tried a 98 Pignat at the same time, which was amazing for Chateau Rayas. Big fan of those wines and match our food quite a lot.
Well, I really like Pinot Noirs, like many sommeliers, and I have one favorite producer, and that's the Melville Winery. in Santa Barbara.
Oh, I know it. I know it
Yeah.
actually. Yes. Yeah.
So it's actually a Melville Pinot Noir, which is far from the most expensive bottles that we have. It's actually a bottle that I can afford myself, and I'm glad that we have it on the list and that we can recommend it and sell it in quite some volumes, because we have so much, very, very exclusive wines, and it would be very easy to say that I would love to drink La Tâche 2005, but as I said, it is out of my league a little bit. I get to taste it when I sell it here. That's nice.
If I were to ask you what the most trending type of wine was in Stockholm right now, what would you say? What kind of wines are really making an impact in the Stockholm market?
I would say we're going back to traditional wines. A lot of French wines, Burgundy. Burgundy is very popular now, both red and whites. White Austrian wines are very popular now. But I think we're going back to a lot of the traditional wine regions.
Have you noticed an interest in natural wines? Because definitely in North America we're seeing a lot of young sommeliers getting very excited by natural wines.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a big trend of that in Stockholm, but maybe not here. This is more classic restaurants. But of course, there's a huge trend, and some of the restaurants now in Stockholm they work only with vin nature.
I would say the natural wines coming from Paris, Brussels, and Copenhagen, where it's also really, really big. And I would say the wines made with organic grapes, biodynamic farming, or also organic or in the wine cellar. We don't have any approach of that here in the restaurant. We just try to do wines that we like the most. Sometimes it will be say as natural wines, or sometimes biodynamical, sometimes organic, or sometimes just wines that we love. But quite often it's from small winemakers in regions that are dried, so they have quite often good opportunities to work organically or even biodynamically. It's happened quite a lot.
Yeah, about the same trends as you see here. A lot of Burgundy, a lot of Bordeaux, a lot of Champagne, a lot of Rieslings, especially dry ones from Germany and Austria.
Now, do you think that's because the German and Austrian wine styles fit well with Scandinavian Swedish cuisine?
They absolutely do, with high acidity and very well to the basic cuisine of the Swedish homes.
Right now it's back to the classics. We've had for many years now new old wines which have been growing and growing, and now we see a little bit people moving back to the classics like red Bordeaux and Burgundy, both white and red. Austria, Rieslings and Grüne Veltliners, and most of all we see wines that has been really unpopular the last 10 years, which is half dry German Rieslings. So it's interesting. You see how times changes.
Like French wine seems to be huge here. What do you put that down to?
I think the generation of sommeliers, which I belong to, think France is an interesting country to read about, to learn about. We have the history, we have the people, and they are bloody good to drink as well.
At the present moment in time, I'd say within the sommelier community, I'd say it's Burgundy for everybody. I mean, that's what every sommelier is really drinking. A lot of us are drinking.
So it's interesting that they've moved back to drinking Burgundy again.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's essentially, I don't know what happened, but at least the younger generation is very keen on the Burgundy wines. And then, I mean, there's some, we're not that much into that, but it's about the vin nature wines. We try to not represent ourselves as a vin nature restaurant. We have some wines that are biodynamic and organic, but what we always go for is it good or isn't good? Is it good? Is it bad or is it good? So we try to find, we don't really care if it's biodynamic or organic. It's always good that if it is, but we try to go for what we actually think, what we like essentially, and what also works with the food, of course.
What are your thoughts on natural wine and the natural wine movement?
I'm not at all interested in it, and I do not think it has a future, actually.
And what do you put that down to?
I haven't tried anything really good. I think, yeah, it's based on that. I haven't tried anything really good.
So you really just think it's a fashion, it's a trend?
I would say so, yes.
It's definitely a trend here as well, and I would say especially among the younger sommeliers that has they like it, and I think they think it's something they can be good at. I think, which is because it's quite new, and for a business like the Grand Hotel, I would say I find it quite difficult because the bottle variation I find is very, very hard to deal with. In a small restaurant with 30 seats, no problems, and you have 4 sommeliers working, you can always pick away or take away the bottle that's damaged or too oxidized. But in a big place like ours, I would say you would far too often get a bottle going out to the guest and they will send it back because they don't want their wine, in that condition. So I'm not negative, but I think it's a little bit of sulfur doesn't harm most people.
My thoughts exactly. How would you rate the wine scene in Stockholm, the sommelier scene? Is there a good camaraderie between sommeliers?
It's happening a lot now, especially in the restaurant business, and then it's of course put in the sommelier business as well. But I would say the sommelier part of the restaurant business is not, for me, that interesting as the chef part of the restaurant business right now. I think it will come, but it's a little more too classical for my taste. Maybe not to wines, because I love classical wines, but I think a little bit more people can look outside the box. It's a little bit too much the same for all top restaurants in Stockholm right now. But it's happening.